Hi kids, welcome to the Baradone 12 YouTube channel, Storytime. We're starting a new initiative on the YouTube, on our Baradone 12 YouTube channel, where we read because
it's inspired by LeVar Burton.
Yeah, a lot of people have told us that we're good with kids.
Yeah,
the kids
are into us. You know,
and we have good reading voices as well, like we did the Raven.
Exactly.
That's not very kid friendly, but
yeah, but the delivery is ideal for children because they can understand us because we enunciate.
Yes. So, without further ado, we're reading this story that I found on the internet. It's Sesame Street
crossover.
It's kind of
It's bringing the gritty world of Sons of Anarchy into like a realm that children might understand.
Yeah, it's making it good. We're making it kids.
Making it urban and hip.
Making it kids.
Kids.
All right. So, chapter 1.
So what's it called? Does it have a name?
It doesn't have the title here. It does have a title, but
the text file's called Cookie vs. Clay, but
you didn't. It does have a title, but you didn't bring it up.
It does have a title,
so
but we don't know what it is.
We don't know.
We'll find out later.
We'll find out. It'll be the title of the video.
Yeah. Okay.
Update. All right.
Okay.
So, without further ado, chapter 1. Cookies are a little like crack. They're highly addictive. They lend themselves to cravings, and they can totally lead to death. Still, he can't bring himself to quit them. Not even when his friends, Big Bird, Elmo, Grover, Tally, and even Oscar the Grouch, conduct an intervention. He needs cookies more than he needs them. It's with a heavy heart that he packs his suitcase with the few belongings that he has, fills a brown paper bag with chocolate chip cookies, and boards an airplane for the West. He's headed to California, to a land filled with milk and cookies, because the state that rivals Wisconsin for dairy farms has got to have cookies, right? The first thing he notices is that compared to Sesame Street, there's a lot of green in California. The second thing he notices is that for a state that boasts to have so much dairy, there are just way too many health stores for his liking. It isn't easy for him to find a decent cookie shop, and then the prices are a little out of his reach. I think you can read that next.
Okay. He travels some, looks around for a place to call home. He spends some time on the streets, grateful the nights in California are much warmer than they are in New York. Before he finds an apartment and a job that doesn't require him to have a high school degree, because he's a muppet. Dishwashers don't get paid a lot, and he ends up picking a second job, working as a bagger at a local grocery store, which makes him a little homesick, because it reminds him of old Mr. Hooper's place. He doesn't make much money, but it's enough to keep him in a small studio and cookies.
Yep.
It's a little hole-in-the-wall bakery, well south of LA, that Cookie Monster first meets Clay Morrow, and the man looks just as downtrodden as he feels. Cookie's nursing a lukewarm glass of milk, licking the crumbs of a snickerdoodle off his fingers, because Mama Rosa's snickerdoodles are to die for, and he can't really afford to waste a single crumb, as the man saunters into the bakery. Cookie's lamenting that he'll have to wait for his next paycheck, an entire week away, before he can get his next cookie fix, when the man takes a seat at the bar next to him. Cookie only notices him because the man looks worse than he feels, like he's suffering like he's suffering an even greater loss than that of Cookie's, though Cookie can't really think of anything worse.
Which one of us is doing the voices? Sorry, we didn't specify this.
I'd rather do Cookie Monster than Clay.
You want to do Cookie Monster?
What does Cookie Monster sound like again? I'll give it.
What does Clay sound like?
You want cookie?
It jokes. Yeah, okay.
Alright. The words slip from his mouth.
Wait, go back.
Okay. Oh, sorry, of course, we got the pictures. Yeah, we're going to bring up pictures of the characters just so you guys know.
There you go.
Just so you can tell the difference. Okay. You want cookie? The words slip from his mouth before he fully realizes what he said, and his last cookie for a week is held out in his trembling hand. He doesn't really want to give it up.
He's going to play the cookies.
He hopes that the tough-looking man will refuse to take it, and his mouth waters in anticipation of how the cookie will melt on his tongue.
The man turns to stare at him, and Cookie gulps, his eyes going wide as he realizes that this man is no ordinary man, but he's one of those bad biker types that Maud, who also works at the restaurant he washes dishes for, has warned him about. She's told him stories about biker gangs that would have given Big Bird and Elmo nightmares for months. Months. They always leave Cookie with a need to gorge himself on a packet of Chips Ahoy. Though his heart hammers in his chest, and Cookie's mouth goes completely dry, his hand resolutely holds his last cookie out to the biker. Why is Cookie doing this? He questions himself. Why is... Anyway, maybe his friends on Sesame Street were right, and the cookies really are making him sick and messing with his mind. Let's go.
Just shut the door.
Okay.
Sorry.
But no, cookies are bad. Cookies... Oh, Cookie's not bad. Cookie's very, very good. Cookie reminds himself, and he glares at his traitorous hand as it shakes. It continues to betray him. The big bad biker looks at him, sighs, and then smiles sadly, plucking the offered cookie from his hand. Cookie just stares at his empty hand, sees black dots dance across his vision, and sways a little on his bar stool. Me last cookie, he thinks, and he feels shaky.
There's no quotation marks in that one. I couldn't do the thinking.
Yeah, it's just him. It's
Oh,
his
right,
internal
okay.
monologue. His
Oh.
internal monologue
Internal
sounds
monologue.
normal.
He thinks like a narrator. Oh, my turn?
Yep.
Me too. I'm getting into the role.
Go on.
The man raises the cookie at him in a mock salute, and Cookie watches as the man takes a bite out of the cookie. Not a single crumb falls from the man's lips, and Cookie's a little mesmerized by the way the man's throat moves when he swallows the bite of chocolate chip goodness. Cookie watches with rapt attention as his offering slowly disappears. By the time that the man, who has too many tattoos for Cookie to count, finishes swallowing his last bite, Cookie's mouth is watering, and he's blinking rapidly. Can Muppets blink?
No.
Cookie's eyes follow the man's fingers, thick-skinned and gnarled with age, as he brings them to his mouth. And Cookie doesn't even realize that he's leaned forward in his seat until he's bumping knees with the man. But he stays right where he is and watches. He feels a sudden camaraderie with the man who is so different from himself, when he draws each finger into his mouth one at a time to suck off the crumbs which stubbornly cling to them. Though he's clad in black leather and denim, Cookie recognizes the man is no stranger to the fine art of eating cookies.
He shivers when the man reaches across him and grabs Cookie's forgotten glass of milk, downing it all with one long gulp, wiping the white moustache that it leaves behind with the back of his hand. The smile that the man gives him afterward is a little wider, and Cookie feels like there are gingerbread men dancing in his stomach.
Did you like the cake?
It was great.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you, the man says, offering him a hand, and Cookie takes it, reveling in the rough feel of it. Name's Clay. How do you do Clay's voice?
It's tired sounding. Name's Clay.
Name's
It's doing
Claymore.
Rusty Cole.
The man says, it's Claymore, and he gives Cookie a strange look when Cookie doesn't release his hand immediately.
Me Cookie. He says gruffly, feeling a little embarrassed because he knows that he doesn't really talk all that well, and when he lets go of the man's hand and gives him an awkward smile.
Cookie?
The man waggles an eyebrow and chuckles.
You remind me of a friend of mine.
Which friend? Which person on Sons of Anarchy is Cookie Monster supposed to remind him of?
You remind me of a friend of mine.
He says, and the gingerbread men settle in Cookie's stomach. Cookie works odd shifts which make it almost impossible for him to go to the bakery during the day. And when he is there, though he looks and waits, he doesn't see Clay. It's when he's just about given up hope of ever seeing the other man again, or of ever sharing his passion for cookies with someone as passionate as he, that Clay walks into the bakery, looking weary and haggard. It's almost like the first time, Cookie offering the man his last savoury delight, and the man finishing the remainder of Cookie's milk. You wanna?
Unsure of himself, Cookie invites Clay over to his place to share a plate of cookies and a glass of milk. And though the biker looks at him strangely, he nods his head and says, "Yeah, that'd be nice." I can't do Clay's voice.
You haven't watched the show enough.
I know. The almost nightly cookie binges, though, those don't start until 7 months later, when Clay's standing outside his door, barely able to hold himself upright, and Cookie ushers him in out of the rain. The man, shivering, doesn't start to ease until Cookie's gotten him dry and wrapped him up in a blue blanket that Baby Bear had given him before he left Sesame Street. Clay doesn't say a word, and Cookie doesn't press. He just offers up a batch of Toll House cookies, straight from the oven, and a glass of milk. And after the last crumb has been savoured, the last drop of milk drank, they both fall asleep, warm appetites, wholly sated, on the couch with Clay's head resting against the soft, furry expanse of Cookie's chest, and Cookie's hands on the man's shoulders, Baby Bear's blanket nestled between them.
Oh, Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
The commingling scents of cinnamon and vanilla seep through the crack of the door to Cookie's apartment and waft it down the hallway. Clay smiles because it means that the monster is baking a fresh batch of cookies, especially for him.
Imagine him smiling.
He can't remember the last time Gemma had done that for him. He brushes aside the memory of his soon-to-be ex-wife and raises a hand to knock on the door, recalling at the last minute that he has his own key now. He doesn't need to bother with such formalities anymore. It's strange, being so at home at Cookie's place, but it's comfortable, and Clay doesn't have to think about anything. He doesn't have to pretend, doesn't have to try to keep ahead of the curve or outsmart anyone. He can be vulnerable, without being afraid that Cookie's going to use it against him. They haven't fucked yet, but Clay thinks he's ready to take things to the next level as he takes a bite of the snickerdoodle that Cookie hands him.
This is good, he
said,
says as he leans forward, pressing a kiss to the blue-furred monster's cheek.
Make glad Clay like new recipe.
Cookie's speech is simple, but Clay likes that, and his scratchy voice is enough to make Clay hard. Retiring to the bedroom with a plate of cookies and 2 glasses of milk only seems natural at this point, of course. Clay undresses, hesitantly at first, but Cookie's soft grunts of excitement as he watches are a turn on, and he quickly discards the rest of his clothes and climbs into the bed.
Clay want this?
Cookie's uncertainty goes a long way towards helping push Clay into this, because the fact that the monster asks him if he wants this shows that he cares. Yes, Cookie, I want this.
Yeah.
He assures the monster, smiling and raising his ass up in the air. They're gone.
Cookie shoves a pillow shaped like the Big Bird. Shaped like a big bird? Okay. Beneath his hips, and Clay sinks down onto the pillow and tries to relax. He's never been on the receiving end of He's never been on the receiving end of something like this before. And though he's a little afraid, he trusts the blue furball. When Cookie inserts one of his thick fingers, coated in some kind of cooking oil, into his virgin hole, the stretch burns more than he'd ever imagined it would, and he almost begs Cookie to stop. Remembering all the nights he'd awoken to find the sticky evidence of another man's sweet dream. Oh, wait, another
sweet dream.
Another sweet dream. Where did another man's come from? Clay simply digs his fingers into the black satin bedsheets a little harder, and bites down on the back of his wrist, holding in the bulk of his pained cry. Whoa!
It hurts like hell at first. Truthfully, he feels a little like he's being impaled by the business end of a baseball bat. But then when Cookie stills, his concerned, albeit gruff voice stiltily questions,
Clay okay?
He nods, even though it isn't okay. And he's grateful when the monster waits until the muscles around his abnormally thick digit relax before he pushes in a little further. It's a painstakingly slow process, involving a lot of stop-starts, and Clay's questioning the sanity of his request that Cookie bake him. But then the burning, tearing sensation eases, and Cookie's index finger, which is the size of 3 normal person's fingers, is brushed against his prostate, and Clay's feeling more relaxed, more turned on than he has in a really long time. Go on.
Okay, Clay pushes his ass higher into the air, changing the angle just enough so that Cookie has him seeing stars, and grunting with the effort of accepting more of the monster's slick, furred finger inside of him. Hurt gives away to blinding pleasure as Cookie crooks his finger and palpates Clay's prostate. Clay's body finally relaxes, his thighs spreading further apart, giving Cookie greater access and feeling bereft when the finger is withdrawn. Clay ready? Cookie grunts out, and Clay nods. He's a little nervous. Every time I look at their faces, uncharacteristically unsure what to expect when Cookie mounts him, and he tenses by instinct when he feels something blunt slipping between his ass cheeks. He has little actual warning from Cookie, just a guttural kind of grunt as he thinks must be pleasure. Oh, he thinks must be pleasure. Then a sudden thrusting of hips as he's breached, and the sheer size of Cookie surprises him.
It takes a minute for the sphincter muscles in Clay's ass to relax and adjust to the considerable size of Cookie's dick, and the monster's patient, waiting until he feels the muscles giving way before he starts to move inside of Clay. The back of Clay's wrist bears the brunt of his pain, bruised with his teeth marks. You can't see it in the picture, but it's there.
Hang on.
Clay's biting his own wrist.
No, this next paragraph.
Oh, okay. And it takes more time than it would if he was with Tig or Juice or any other man, ordinary man, for the pain to give way to pleasure. But when it does, Cookie's riding him like he's a fucking bronco and he's bucking beneath the monster. Uttering shameless begging screams of, more. More. And crying actual tears, biting into his wrist hard enough to draw blood when he comes. His muscles crimping around Cookie's dick as he stiffens and spills his seed into the sheets beneath him.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Go on.
Okay, Cookie's wordless grunts accompany each jerk of his hips. His fingers dig into Clay's hips, no doubt leaving bruises as evidence of their coupling. By the time he comes with a bone-jarring shudder and riding his orgasm out inside of Clay, he's boneless and utterly incapable of speech. Well, what passes as speech for him anyway? When Cookie pulls out of him with a wet-sounding pop, he feels stretched, full and sated in a way that sex with women has never done for him. When Cookie flops down beside him, and drapes a soft, fuzzy arm over him protectively, Clay sidles closer, savouring the shared heat between them. And when, instead of the cliched post-coital cigarette, his unorthodox lover shoves a plate of cinnamony ginger snaps in his direction, the very same plate of cookies which he had started all this in the first place. Oh, which had. He doesn't hesitate to grab a cookie and shove it in his mouth. He turns to face Cookie, his fuzzy secret lover, letting the monster gently lick at the crumbs that linger at the edges of his mouth. And when they kiss, Cookie tastes of cinnamon and vanilla. Clay can't get enough of him. Clay want more cookie?
Clay can see the eagerness on his monster's furry face.
Monster is capitalized.
Yeah. No, Cookie. Once is enough for tonight. He sighs, laying his head on his monster's soft chest. His fuzzy brow furrows.
Cookie do something wrong? Cookie hurt Clay?
No, Cookie, you did everything right. He grins up at his fuzzy lover.
Okay, if Clay says so, me believe you.
Cookie replies with a sigh. Hey, Cookie? He asks as he twines his fingers in the soft fur of Cookie's broad chest.
Yes, Clay?
His big furry hand glides smoothly up and down Clay's back, drawing random patterns. Just hold me. The vulnerability rolls off him in waves, and Cookie holds him tighter.
Yeah, me hold you. Me hold you long time, maybe forever.
The end.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful story?
You know, I never imagined a crossover between Sesame Street and Sons of Anarchy
Could work so well.
could work so well.
It's kind of scary.
I was actually going to end with just I couldn't imagine it. But
No, I'm jumping in. I love his references to the other Sons of Anarchy characters, like a Tig and Juice.
so this it's taking way longer to get into the groove as it would with Clay or Juice. Or, I mean,
He's like thinking of the other
Tig
man.
or Juice. Well, that was the Barryden 12
Barryden 12 story time.
Kids, I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, you can ask your teacher at the end of the
No, your parents.
No, you can ask the teacher at the end of the showing this at schools now.
Oh, right, yeah, this is part of the curriculum. Thanks, guys.
You will have your test in front of you. Thank you all.
Bye.
And sleep well.